I'm bored. Let's react to some criticism. All right, so today we're going to watch two videos from a content creator here on YouTube named Steve Arts 89. This was a request. Someone asked me to do this, to check these out. So I did. I watched a little bit of them and I thought this was worth covering in a video. Couple things before we get into this. Number one, do not go and attack this person on my behalf. I can fight my own battles. If there's something in these videos that Steve says that you want to talk directly to Steve about, his comment section is over there. Head over and do that. But don't go over there and do anything on my behalf that, you know, would come off as like rude or nasty or attacking or anything like that. I'm not asking anybody to do that. So please do not do that. Now, there's a lot of videos made about me where people have negative opinions of me or of my content or have a different opinion than I do of like a movie or a TV show or something. There's live streams or shorts. There's a lot of that stuff out there. I typically ignore that kind of stuff unless I think that there's some benefit for my channel, for my content. There's something out there that everybody would benefit from in regards to debunking things they've said. With Steve's videos, there's two of them. They're about 15 minutes combined. I think one is 5, one is 11, so 15, 16 minutes. There's a lot of things that are said in these videos that I believe should be corrected for people that watch my content. So we're going to go through this and I'm going to try and explain a lot of the things that I think are misconceptions and sort of show you guys what I believe it looks like when a person is having some sort of like issue with their own internal logic when it comes to the content they're consuming here on YouTube. Very quickly before we watch the video, I did see that Steve has misspelled my name on both videos about me. I don't know if this was intentional or not. I know sometimes when people want to talk shit about someone else and they don't want them to see it or respond to it, they purposely misspell their name. I'm not assuming that that's what Steve did. Maybe it was just a mistake, but it happened in both videos. So either he doesn't know how to spell my name just in general, or this was an attempt to like keep me from finding the videos. I don't know. Let's hear what Steve has to say.
Well, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm a gay man and I do feel obliged to support my my gay artists and YouTube content creators and so forth, and I usually do just because that's what I gravitate towards to, or I feel obliged. But there's one gay YouTuber that I really don't like. His name is Arix Debunks, like A-I-R-I-C-K.
Okay, so you do know how to spell my name. I don't know why it's misspelled in both of the titles then, because you spelled it perfectly just then. So I'm not sure why it's misspelled in both titles.
Debunks. And he's really just kind of a reverse chud.
Okay, so reverse chud. So that would mean that I'm not a liar. I'm not a grifter. I'm not someone getting online creating outrage content. I mean, I don't really see a negative to that, to being a reverse chud. Being a reverse chud would be all of the good things that people do on YouTube. I mean, honestly, if that's how you look at it, yeah, because like you have flash, you have reverse flash. It's literally one is good and one is evil. So, I mean, I suppose maybe that's a compliment. I don't know if it was intended as a compliment.
I mean, all he does for his videos is he will just...
All I do.
He would say, I'm bored, I'm going to watch Nerdrotic. And my mum always said bored people were boring people because they've got nothing going on. That's why they go looking for things so they're bored.
It's just a joke. I wouldn't take that too seriously. I mean, look, I'm just going to say I would assume that you know that I'm not actually like bored. And because of that boredom, I'm watching these videos. Like I sit at my desk, I look through stuff, I find the video or whatever content I want to talk about, and then I come up with a funny thing to say at the beginning. That's what it is. Like I'm not actually sitting here with nothing to do, being bored, and I choose to watch content that I don't like. I thought that joke was obvious, but I guess not. Also, your mom saying that bored people are boring people. I don't know. I've never heard that one before. Okay.
So that's not a good way to start with me, but he basically will just get a video from someone like Nerdrotic or just anyone from the Shuttersphere, and you'll just sit there and take their video apart, you know, sentence by sentence, basically, issue by issue, argument by argument,
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff they say is,
I mean, isn't that how you would do it? You would take each argument and then you would like rebut that argument. I feel like that's the way you would do what I do is you have them say something, you stop it like I'm doing here, and then you make a statement in response to that. Because otherwise I'm just sitting and watching the video. And I don't think that would be very engaging for the people that are watching my content. I also don't think it would be very helpful or useful in pushing back against the kind of content that they make. So yes, that's essentially the way I think you should tackle videos that you're reacting to. I don't know. I mean, are you offering another way to do it? Let's see.
crap, of course, because they're chuds. They're transphobic, homophobic, misogynistic, racist, everything, and issue by issue, argument by argument. And a lot of the stuff they say is crap, of course, because they're chuds. They're transphobic, homophobic, misogynistic, racist, everything. And part of his definition of a chud is that you create a problem and then feed that problem.
So you're not disagreeing with me that everything they're doing in the videos that I'm reacting to is bad stuff. Okay. So I'm still trying to figure out what the issue is, what the problem is in what I'm doing. You called me a reverse chud, which would mean that I am literally an honest person who likes things. I mean, that's your term for me, not mine. I've never called myself that before. You talk about how I stop their arguments at each one and I rebut each one of those arguments. And then you also agree that they put out a lot of hateful, bigoted stuff. So I'm still trying to figure out what the issue is. So let's see if we can get to the root of the problem.
And I guess on a small scale, issue to issue, they do this. But on the bigger sort of field, no, they didn't start the culture wars. They just, because a lot of these guys started off as legitimate YouTubers with actual topics and subjects. And then they just found that the videos got bigger views when they just jumped on these culture war topics. So they just then started to school themselves on that, and that's what they do now.
Okay, so let's unpack that. First of all, that doesn't make them innocent. That doesn't mean that they haven't done something wrong. So saying that you're saying they didn't start the culture war, that doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really move the needle on any of the criticism of them. Like, I don't understand how that's a defense. It doesn't even really matter, to be honest, who started it, in terms of where we are now, because we're seeing the results of this in everything, including our politics here in the United States. So I don't really care who started it. I don't think that's relevant when debunking videos. Also, to say that they saw that they were getting more views, which would mean more revenue and more money from being negative, means that you're also agreeing that they're being disingenuous for money. I mean, what else could you mean there? Like, that's my takeaway, is that you're acknowledging that they're being they're peddling outrage because they know that it's beneficial for them. So I'm still waiting to find out what the problem is with my content where you felt like you had to debunk me. Let's continue.
And I must admit, I do still occasionally watch some of these guys occasionally, because the sad truth of the matter is they're more entertaining than the left.
Okay, so you watch the people that you know are bigots because they're more entertaining. I just want to make sure I heard that right. Hold on. I don't want to assume too much, but I think you're saying you watch people that are homophobic as a gay man because they're more entertaining? Okay.
Started to school themselves on that, and that's what they do now. And I must admit, I do still occasionally watch some of these guys occasionally, because the sad truth of the matter is they're more entertaining than the left.
Okay, so I did hear that right. Which, by the way, I also want to point out, you're acknowledging here that you, at least personally, in regards to how you're viewing it, I don't know if I agree with this, but we'll go with what you're saying here, that fandom is divided by political lines, right? That's what you're saying here, because you're grouping everyone that isn't entertaining into the left, and all of the bigotry and all of that stuff onto the right. So you already understand the consequences of the situation, and where this all leads politically, because you've admitted it here. So according to you, but let's continue.
The left, as much as I agree with their politics and I feel we need their counter programming, a lot of them are just boring. And these guys, even though they're chuds, some of them are entertaining and interesting. And sickly enough, I do find a couple of them hot, but that's, that's why I go.
Okay, hold on for a second. Did you just say that you found people on the left boring? Didn't your mother say that bored people are boring? Like, I want to make sure I heard that right. Did you just say you were bored because the people on the left are boring and that's why you watch people on the right? I want to make sure, because, I mean, are you bored? I mean, you could say I'm bored. Like, that would be fine. I don't have an issue with that. But let's make sure that's what you said. And then I also think you said that you engage with bigots because they're hot. Okay, let's continue here.
The sad truth of the matter is they're more entertaining than the left. The left, as much as I agree with their politics and I feel we need their counter-programming, a lot of them are just boring. And these guys, even though they're chuds, some of them are entertaining and interesting. And sickly enough, I do find a couple of them hot, but that's why I go to therapy.
Okay, well, good news is you're going to therapy over that. I do think that's an issue, to be attracted to people that literally want to see your rights stripped away. They don't want to see you in any media whatsoever. They don't want to be around you. They find gay people gross and disgusting. I think there is an issue with that. And so I'm glad to hear that you recognize that and you're going to therapy for that. That's great. But I want to say here, this is where I want to interject a little bit about the world of the chuds and stuff. There probably are other people out there, like Steve, who understand that all of these guys they watch are hateful, bigoted, mean people. But they're entertaining, and so they don't care that their support of these channels leads to bigger issues for other people within their community. I think that's a problem. You don't have to be an activist. I'm not saying you have to go and you have to protest and boycott in person. You have to do hashtag whatever it is on social media or make endless videos about problems you see in the world. You don't have to do that. But when you personally and passively support this kind of content because you are physically attracted to them, or because you're looking for something to watch, that is a problem. I don't know if you guys understand that, but that is an issue. That is an issue. And the bigger thing is that you don't care that it affects other people because you're not personally affected by it. So as long as you're in a position where you feel shielded and protected from whatever the repercussions are from these kinds of channels, you're willing to overlook all of that for a piece of dick, a piece of ass, or to get rid of the general boredom that you have. I just need you guys to understand, not specifically Steve. I don't want to be like I'm attacking this guy because I don't know him enough to go after him that way. But I'm speaking in generalizations about people like him in the community where they understand that this content is bad, but they still passively support it. Let's continue.
But okay, so the issue I have with him is he's basically, like I said, a reverse chud. He just does what he criticizes these guys for. They just will look at Brie Larson or Marvel or Disney or whatever the topic is and just sit it and pick it apart just for the sake of it, for the sport of it, even if they don't really believe it.
Right. And how is it that I am like that? Right? Do I not believe? Do you think that I don't believe that what I'm doing is a good thing and that I'm just doing it for sport? So that is a claim that you've made about me. I'm going to see if you provide some evidence about that in here. Proof that I do this for sport and that I don't believe what I'm saying. Because I could show you proof that a lot of the guys, Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, Critical Drinker, any of the people I talk about, I can show you proof. I have receipts that they have either stated directly that they do this for the money or they've insinuated that they do it for the money. So I'm curious if you have any proof that of me saying or doing anything along those lines, because that would mean I'm just like them, but on the left, according to you. So let's see if you have anything else to offer for that.
Even if it doesn't make sense, just because they know that's what their audience wants to hear. He's just doing the same thing for the left. And I'll be watching some of his videos.
So you are insisting that I'm just saying it because that's what the audience wants to hear? That's really interesting. It's an interesting perspective because you have no proof of that, first of all. But even if I were doing it for that reason, let's just say hypothetically that I am just doing this because I think the audience wants to hear it. What I am doing is I'm pointing out what liars are doing, what grifters are doing, what bad faith actors are doing, people that are harming marginalized communities. So even if I was doing it for that reason, specifically because the audience that watches my videos wanted me to do it, that's the sole reason I'm doing it. The end result is that these guys get exposed for being liars, and that a lot of people out there can see that there's a pushback against the hateful content they're making. Even if I was doing it for that reason. I'm not, but just if I were, that would be the result of it. So there's no negative impact from what I'm doing.
And he'll be going through stuff, and some of what he says is right, and the rest isn't. And I'm like, you're picking apart what this person's saying just because they are saying it, because it's coming out of their mouth. If one of your side said it, you wouldn't disagree with them.
Do you have proof of that? Do you have any examples of that? I mean, there's several times that I have disagreed with people who are progressive, people on the left. There's politicians I've disagreed with. There's other content creators I've disagreed with. I'm not going to do the work for you, though. I'm not going to do the work for you. Since you're making that claim that I wouldn't do that, I'm assuming you're going to show an example of me ignoring some left-leaning person who had the exact same opinion as Nerdrotic, just ignoring it completely, because that would be evidence to back up your claim, or at least give an example. Even if you don't have it, just say he did this and it was in a video that he made or something, so I would know that you've actually caught me in something. Because if you're going to make that claim, you'd have to have some sort of evidence to back it up. And I don't think we're a good ways through your video. I don't think you're going to have any evidence to back up that claim. But anyway, let's continue.
And it's really frustrating because I've watched a bunch of his videos because, and he uses these really annoying thumbnails that are just, well, they're not as bad as like Nerdrotic and that. They have the stupid AI generated, like it's always like someone's face like yelling or something, like, oh, some horrible things happened and some drama. And
so mine are annoying, but not as bad as the guys that you're defending right now. Mine are annoying, but theirs are worse, but you're still defending them over me because what I'm doing is calling them out for being bad. I've said on multiple occasions that in the comment section early on in my channel, a lot of the people would come in and say, oh, if what they're doing is so lazy and easy, why don't you just do it as well? Right? This is what I would hear. It's a criticism I heard because I said they were making lazy slop content. And so they're like, why don't you just do the content they're doing? Why don't you make the thumbnails they're making? Why don't you use the titles they're using for their videos? Why don't you just do it if it's so easy for them to do and it's so lazy? And so I said, okay, bet, you got it. I started doing it. There's satirical versions of the thumbnails that these guys are making. Matter of fact, in the description for my channel, if you click on the description box in the About section, it literally says that I'm mocking them. That's the point of those thumbnails. That's why I make the faces. All of that's there satirically making fun of what these guys do. And I've talked about it many times. I guess I have to bring it up again, but it's literally in the About section of my thumbnail. And I thought it would be obvious considering the titles of my videos when I use meltdown and outraged at the most ridiculous times. I'm doing that because that's what they do, and I'm trying to make fun of them for it. That's why that exists in the way it does. But I guess some people don't get that because they're so dead set on like making me out to be some sort of villain. But okay, let's continue.
Just they have someone with tears, big giant exaggerated tears and stuff like that, like the kind of thing that would attract the most base unintelligent person to it.
Okay. I want to run this back because you say that you like their content, you watch their content, but I want you to listen to what he just said about the way they draw attention to their videos with their thumbnails. Listen to this.
Horrible things happened and some drama, and just they have someone with tears, big giant exaggerated tears and stuff like that, like the kind of thing that would attract the most base unintelligent person to it.
Okay. I'm just going to move on. He said it. I'm not going to dig anymore.
He kind of does that a little bit too, but not as bad. But and usually has some really stereotypically gay thing in a video, and like
stereotypically gay thing? When do I have any stereotypical gay stuff in my videos? I don't understand that criticism. Let's see if he gives an example.
He's got these big fluoro glasses, and I think he identifies as a bear because there was some bear reference that he mentioned someone criticizing him for. It's like, well, maybe if you didn't like put yourself in a specific gay subgroup, you would do better with a general sort of audience and gay audience, and he was arguing against that.
Okay, let me unpack that. You have an issue. What is the issue with my glasses? I find it triggers a lot of people that I wear a lot of fun glasses that I like. I didn't know that was something that people felt so strongly about. Is that supposed to be an insult? That I have a lot of fun glasses? I'm not even sure how to address that. I don't put any stereotypical gay stuff in my videos, and even if I did, who gives a fuck? I'm a gay person. I can put stereotypical gay stuff in my videos if I want. So it doesn't really matter to me. As far as the bear criticism, that's a really weird one because, yeah, there was an AMA where somebody brought that up. I don't know who it was because it's an AMA, so I have no clue. But even if I do identify as a bear, say, for example, that is the community I'm part of, what does that have to do with anything on my channel? What does that have to do? Very early on in my channel, I'd start out my videos with "Hey Bears" as a joke, like I do with "I'm bored." It was a tagline that I started my videos out with. It went away on my channel over a year ago. Over a year ago. I started slowly updating the branding on my channel to match the new catchphrases and the new stuff on my channel. There was no excluding of anybody. Matter of fact, I don't even think you would understand what it meant unless you were looking for a reason to understand it. I never even talked about it in detail. It was like a joke line that I used that came organically, just like the "I'm bored" stuff. But also the whole thing about like reaching a bigger audience, my channel is growing. I'm getting views on my channel. I'm gaining subscribers on my channel. I'm reaching the audience that I want to reach. Why would being associated with any sort of subgroup or side group, why would that prevent me from reaching a bigger audience? I don't even understand what that means. Like, I want to reach anyone and everyone. I don't gatekeep my content from anybody. Like, anyone can come in and engage with my content. I don't understand that criticism. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. You'd have to give me an example of where I've excluded people because of what I identify as. I don't think I've ever done that. But, okay, let's continue.
And I'm like, bears are pretty bad for being very much their own little group and not allowing other people in and feeling like they are the definition of masculinity and anyone else is just inferior. So I have issues with the bears, and the fact he identifies with the bear as a bear.
So you have a personal issue with a group that has done something to you that was not me, and now you're projecting that on me because I look like somebody who's a part of that group? That's where we're at? That your issue with me is that I could possibly identify as a bear, even though I've never really talked about that in detail on my videos. But because I could, you think that I am because of a catchphrase. And because of that, you've dissected me as a gatekeeper to other gay people, I guess. No, you got a personal issue with the bear community. Take it up with them. I'm not the spokesbear. I'm not the leader of the bear community. So whatever issue you have with the bear community, or whoever it was in the bear community that didn't let you into some event or something, whatever it is, the Cool Kids Club, whatever it is, the problem you have with that, take that up with them, not with me.
Kind of gives me some insight into his personality and the way he sort of operates. But I know I'm, but
What?
his beard to hide the fact he's got a round face.
My beard to hide my round face? Is that why you think I have a beard? What the fuck? Y'all, I don't even know how to address that. The beard to hide the fact that I have a round face. Is that an insult? What is that supposed to mean? If you are from, I don't know where he's from. I'm assuming Australia, New Zealand, somewhere in that area. Is saying someone has a round face supposed to be an insult? I don't really know what. I want to run this back because I don't know what that means.
Way he sort of operates, but I know I'm, but his beard to hide the fact he's got a round face isn't really helping anything either, and the fluoro glasses, it's just like he's just trying so hard to be some kind of, I don't want to get too much into trying to analyze him and or all the ways he falls into or sidesteps the sort of gay stereotypes and
what? What? I have never ever on this channel hid the fact that I'm gay. So if you're insinuating that I'm doing something to try and cover up the fact that I'm gay, I don't even know how to address that. I don't know how to address that. Do you want me to, like, am I supposed to be stereotypical gay or not? Like, I don't know. Covering up what I'm wearing. Like, I find it really funny that so many people that criticize me have an issue with what I'm wearing or how I look. I try my best when I'm like debunking videos or covering somebody's content to not address how they look. I could say a ton of stuff right now about Steve, about the way he appears, but I'm not going to do it. For once, I'm not going to match energy. I'm going to keep it very, very cute here and not say anything. But I find it very strange. I know that I look good. I know I do. And I think everybody should feel that way about themselves. You should look in the mirror and you should love who you are. You should look in the mirror and you should feel very empowered by the way you look. So I can affirm myself on how I look. I know that I look good. I look exactly how I want to look. I dress how I want to dress. I present myself the way I want to present myself. And I don't need anybody else's approval for that. I don't need Steve's approval for that. I don't need anybody's approval for that. I've never let anybody's criticism of me and the way I dress, the way I look on YouTube or social media affect anything I've ever done. Not even slightly. Not even a little bit. I just find it a little strange that over the last 2 or 3 videos where I have watched people criticize me, it always goes into how I look. Whether it be my glasses, my hat, my clothing, and now my beard, I guess. I don't get it. Can y'all really, like, I've listened to what he said so far in this video. Can y'all really just address what the issue is? Give some sort of context to what you're saying. Like, you don't like that I'm debunking them, but you have yet to show in this video, and this video is almost over. We're almost done with the first video. You've yet to give a real example of something I have done that requires you to think that my content is somehow negative. Like, in general. Like, give me an example. This has devolved into attacking how I look and how I identify, just like with the EFAP stuff, creating a story about me that is not me. I haven't gatekept anybody from the bear community. Like, what are we even talking about?
Gay things, because he doesn't really serve the gay agenda or anything. He doesn't really serve us. He's really just there to spite them.
So I have to serve you? I have to serve the gay agenda? What? My dude, I make the content that I want to make. I'm not here to serve anyone at all. I'm not here to push some sort of agenda for somebody else on somebody else's behalf. That's not what I'm doing. You fundamentally misunderstand what my channel's about. My channel is not here to do what you want. My channel is not here to do what gay people want, what trans people want, what any other group wants. I run my channel the way I want to run my channel. But I want to reiterate, I don't exist for other people. That's a weird way to criticize the content that I'm making. It's a very weird thing to say.
And that's the issue I have with him. Like, he doesn't ever seem to have a point or a real argument or a reason to talk about something or a joy or a celebration of something or liking something. He just is like, I'm just going to attack this person because people want me to attack them.
What? I'm having a tough time with this one. I'm having a tough time with this one. I don't attack people because someone else wants me to attack them. I pick out the videos and the content that I'm going to cover typically because I decide that I want to cover it. I would love for you to give me an example, even one example of a video that I made that you believe I only made because someone else told me to attack that person. Secondly, I do talk about stuff I love. On my Eric's Reloaded channel, that content is typically stuff that I enjoy. The Nerdcast, the stream I do twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, almost exclusively covers content that I'm excited to talk about. I don't even really cover chuds on those streams. And those streams go from 2 to 3 hours each time. So that's 6 hours of content a week where I'm not exclusively talking about chuds or grifters. So this criticism is really strange. It's really strange. I have an entire podcast dedicated to stuff that isn't directly connected to chud content. So I don't even know how to address that.
I'm going to criticize everything they say, even if they're right, even when it comes to facts. Like, and you just pull out the most ridiculous things. Like, God, if I get into the specifics, this will be a 20-minute video, so I'm just going to stop there. But because I'm already at, I think, nearly 5 minutes. But yeah, I just had to comment on it.
I feel like if you're going to say these things about me, you need to be specific. I'm going to be honest. I feel like if you're going to make these wild accusations about why I do my content, why I make my content, things that I've done, things that I've said, mistakes I've made, I think you owe me at least one example. Like, you owe me at least one example. Like, say this specific example is me showing you what he's done. And you don't have to show a clip. You could just say what it is. But this is all really vague. And I haven't watched all of the second video, but I really hope that you at least give some sort of example of your issues with me that show specifics, because right now it's giving very vague. It's giving very vague.
I've commented on some of his videos, and of course he doesn't respond because, he can't. But
because I can't? You think you're cucking me in the comments or something? This is not a flex. I want you guys to understand, it's not a flex. I make videos almost daily from multiple channels. I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments that I have to go through every day, if I can. And sometimes they slip through the cracks. Sometimes if a video came out on a Monday and I made videos Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and somebody comments on a video from Monday, I don't always see it. I don't always get to it. If I don't see your comment, it doesn't mean that I'm avoiding you because of something you said. It's quite possibly I just didn't see it. I just didn't get to it. Or I don't feel any reason to engage with it. I don't like to fight in the comment section. I prefer not to do that. It's not something I like to do. But look, I appreciate everybody's comments. Everybody that comments, if I go through and I have a chance to heart it, I will. You can look through the comment section. I heart as many comments as I can of people that are in there supporting me and showing me love. I'm not going to argue in the trenches with a bunch of people who are just leaving dumb comments. That's just not a thing I'm going to do. And also, again, if a video has been out for a few days, sometimes I don't see the comments. That's just the reality of it. It's not because you bested me, bro, or something like that.
It's just so hypocritical and lame.
So now it's hypocritical.
And you're no worse than these guys. You're just the other side of the coin. You're doing exactly what they're doing for your base.
So a minute ago, I wasn't doing it for anybody else. I wasn't doing it for the gay people and the gay agenda, but now I am doing it again. So now we're back to this. Okay.
And it's really no better. If you had some integrity in regards to the actual subject and the issues, and we're just calling people out when they stepped out of line or said something was wrong, that would be a bit more sincere. But this is just for the sake of it. You just go through, rip every little thing they say apart, even when they're right, even when they've got a point, even if it's just from their perspective. He'll still rip it apart like.
Well, give me an example. Just one. Just one, so I can actually hear what it is. Like, just saying that I do these things and not giving me a concrete example makes it really difficult for me to understand what you mean. I also think it's a little weird to question my integrity with literally no proof. No proof. And they make tons of videos I don't respond to. Do you think I respond to every video they make? Every video. Do you think I sit around and react to every video Nerdrotic makes, every video Critical Drinker makes, every video Geeks and Gamers makes? No, I don't. That's ridiculous. I don't do that. So there are times that I don't debunk them because I don't see a reason to debunk them. The fact that I'm not reacting to every video they make should tell you there's some videos that I don't see any value in debunking them because maybe they are being honest about it. Maybe they are. Why would I react to a video where they're not lying? Why would I do that? What purpose would that serve? That serves no purpose for anybody.
But I'm going to go partly because someone's now drilling something outside of my apartment. I don't know if you...
Okay, so we're going to look at the second video that he's made about me and see where it goes. I didn't mean to pause that one so much. It was a very short video, but there's just so much there. His opinion of me, I'm not going to, like, if people don't like me or they have opinions of me that are unfavorable, that's their business. That has nothing to do with me whatsoever. But when you make accusations about me, when you say things about me that, like why I'm making content or what I'm doing or question my integrity, I would appreciate you providing some sort of evidence to back up that claim. Because a claim with no evidence doesn't mean anything. You have to provide some evidence. So let's look at the next video. All right, so here again, he has misspelled my name and he's put a space in it as well. Eric Debunk part 2. This one's like 11 minutes. I want to see if he actually gets into some real issues instead of just giving vague, because I can't do anything with vague.
Well, Steve Arts 89. Well, I have I'm developing a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Eric Debunks.
Okay.
Because I'm obviously not
I mean, that's progress, right? I feel like that's progress. Okay. I'll take it. I'll take love-hate.
Shard. I am left. I am woke. I am a minority. And I am an optimist, and I like films, and I love the media and that. And so, I don't make...
So my question is, if you... Look, this is just a general thought here. In the first video, you say that you like to watch those guys. You say because they're hot. It's a little weird, but it is what it is, right? But you say you're woke and you're left and all these other things, and you love movies and TV shows. Why are you watching them? Why are you watching their content? If you like content creators that are talking about things they love, I'm guessing from the statement you just made, because you love stuff, why are you watching their videos? It's really not good for you. It's not good. I know you don't think that it's affecting you, but it is. It's definitely affecting you if you're consuming their content.
The same content as these guys, which is why I have a tiny channel. Because I don't hate and I don't trash things and I don't tell people what they want to hear and just feed them all their anxieties and agendas so they can get all threatened and then be addicted to me feeding that to them all the time. That's just how these people have worked up these channels that is...
Yes, that's how they function. Look, I'm glad you understand that. Again, early in your earlier video, you seem to understand, at least to some degree, what they do and how they have, grown on YouTube. So I'm glad you understand that. And this video, let's see if maybe, because I think the videos were like a month apart-ish. Let's see if maybe you've changed your opinion of me a little bit since then. You say you have a love-hate relationship. So let's see what that means.
Quite big now. A lot of them started, I think there were, when Nerdrotic started, I had more subscribers than him when he first started. He started off with less than 500 and I started with over 500. That's little things like that are just so funny. It's like, I remember way back when, like 10 years ago. But yeah, so either way, this guy, he hates those guys and on one level...
I don't hate, so I want to clear this up. I don't really hate people, right? I want to make it very clear. Hating someone requires for me some sort of personal connection to something, because hate to me is a very powerful emotion, similar to like loving someone. So I don't hate individual people. I hate some of the things that people do. I hate some of the positions that people hold. I hate lying. And these guys lie a lot. So I can understand why people would think that I just hate them as people. Like, hate can be used towards like an ideology or something along those lines. I could even apply it there. But individually on a personal level, I don't hate any of these guys. I don't hate them because I just don't have enough of a personal connection to do that. Do I hate the stuff they do? Yes, absolutely.
He does a good job of analyzing a lot of their things and sort of focusing on and clarifying a lot of their sort of their messaging and sort of pointing out what their agenda is and exposing them on that level. But he takes it to another level where he sort of goes, you know, like down to their level where he would just hate something because they like it or like something because they hate it.
Okay, here we go again. I need some sort of proof. Like, are you saying that I only like things that they hate? Is that what you're saying? I need an example for that. Maybe you'll give one. It's possible. I paused you. My bad. But as far as like meeting them on their level, what I am doing, and you'll see this with other channels that do similar things, meeting them where they are is extremely important. This go high thing doesn't work. It hasn't worked for a long time. It's a utopian fantasy that doesn't exist because the system is rigged. YouTube's system is rigged. I've already talked about this. YouTube doesn't enforce its terms of service. There's a lot of channels that break terms of service that get away with it for years and years and years. They don't do anything with it. And those channels grow and they fester and then we end up with the shit we end up with now. You have to meet them at that level. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're a piece of shit. It doesn't mean any of those things. You are playing the game by the rules that are established in the game. And those are YouTube's rules. This is why doing mockeries and parodies and things like that of their thumbnails and their titles has allowed me to interrupt that ecosystem. I'm telling you, Steve, even if you disagree with the way I'm doing this, what I am doing is working. What other people like me are doing is working. Everyone has their own little way of tackling it, but the way we're doing it is working. Ignoring these channels and pretending this stuff doesn't exist has been detrimental. I take a lot of blame for being one of those people who had another channel with like 23,000 subscribers where I could have done more about this and I didn't. That is on me. I feel a bit of responsibility for that. So it doesn't work. You have to meet them within the rules and guidelines that YouTube is allowing them to play through. That's the only way it works. I know you don't like that. It's very clear that you have an issue with that. It's clear that some other people have an issue with that. I've talked about this before. It just doesn't work. I'm being very, like, this is me being very genuine with you. What you are saying here about how we engage with them, this kind of tone policing thing that people do, it doesn't work on social media. It doesn't work on YouTube. We see this in politics now. A lot of politicians are seeing that in order to break through and shatter all of that, you have to, at least to some degree, meet them where they are. It's just the reality of it.
And if they say it's left, it's right. If they say it's black, it's white. You know, he does that, and I'm like, is this just a natural instinct, just a natural contrarian thing that is in his personality, or is he
contrarian? I've heard a lot of statements about me and my personality and stuff. Contrarian is definitely not something I've heard before. I'm a very opinionated person. And I will say how I feel about something every single time. Like the fact that you think I'm only saying it because they're saying something different from me, I just don't even, like, I would need you to provide some evidence of that. Just because we have different opinions about stuff doesn't mean that I'm only doing it because they're saying something else. I would need you to provide some evidence for that, Steve.
Sort of trying to, create something, and they think that's what everyone wants. They just want the opposite of that. So just do the opposite of that and that'll be your video. And he does seem to do a lot of that. And there are little moments I'm just like, you are just full of shit. And it's really undermines the overall argument and issue that you're dealing with or whatever.
I would love some examples, Steve. Could you give me examples in the video? I know you've left comments with stuff in there. Like clearly you have something specific that you have a problem with. Just, could you give me some examples? I would love to rebut any example you might have. You might be right. There might be a time where I did do that, but you're not providing anything.
And like things like Superman, for example, he keeps on insisting that the new Superman film made money because the franchise as a whole is making money through marketing and endorsements and all that.
Yeah.
But the film itself You judge a film's success based on the box office alone.
No, you don't. I don't. This is why I say listening to those guys is detrimental. You don't. It's 2025. I don't want to get too far in the weeds here with this, but a movie, when it comes out, the box office is a portion of how that movie generates success, right? It's a ingredient into that, but it hasn't been the singular factor of success for a very long time in film. The fact that they release early access VOD, where you pay $25 to watch a movie while it's still in theaters, that factors into that money. Do you think that the studios are just like, oh, all that money that it's making outside of the box office, ignore that. It doesn't mean anything. No, it does mean something. It absolutely means something. Also, I don't think the sales of something in the box office makes it a failure or a success creatively. Like, you could argue financially, things can be based on numbers, not just the box office. You could argue that. But to say creatively or critically or from the fans, whether it's a success or a failure is based on the box office is just not a true statement. There's lots of examples over the years of movies that failed that went on to become extremely successful movies in culture. There are a lot of cult classic movies like that. I mean, there's like what? Donnie Darko, Blade Runner, Shawshank Redemption, Labyrinth, Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's tons of examples of films that went on to be extremely successful with fans that were not massive box office hits. So the box office as a metric is only specifically tied to that one criticism, which would be box office sales. But that is not the metric of success for a movie in the long term. And the fact that you're saying this means that you've listened to these guys too much, Steve. You've listened to them too much.
And it failed. It lost money.
It did not lose money.
And because now it's going to make money through streaming, being sold, and
yes,
on-demand videos and digital downloads and all this stuff, all this other stuff that helps. He's saying, oh, well, now it's a hit. And I'm like, not in the cinema.
First of all, it did make money in the box office. I don't know why you keep saying it doesn't here in this video or why other people keep saying it. It did. It turned a profit in the box office. I'm not really sure what person you're listening to with the numbers that keeps convincing you of this. It made money in the box office and it made money on streaming. Like, we're talking over 100 million in profit alone off of streaming. So I'm not really sure why you would say it's a failure financially when we know that it wasn't a failure financially based on just one component, one ingredient. You have to understand. Steve, listen to me here. If you're going to watch this video, I don't know if you're going to watch my video or not. Anybody else watching, you have to understand the box office numbers are one ingredient in the overall sales and popularity of a movie. It's one ingredient. There are so many ancillary ways that movies make money now outside of the box office that sticking to that one metric doesn't look good for you. It doesn't look good. I'm not going to say super negative things about you or your intelligence here. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to go down that hole. But it's not good if you think the box office is the only metric of success when it comes to a film. It's not good, Steve.
And just little insincere things like that, like saying, well, just pretending like it didn't lose money in the cinema.
It didn't.
Because now it's sort of going on and making more money.
But it didn't lose money in the cinema anyway, Steve. It didn't. Stop listening to these guys. We don't know. You have to be very clear here. We don't know for sure what the production budget ended up being after all the rebates and incentives and brand deals, all of that. We don't know for sure. But what we do know is the studio, James Gunn, all the people behind the scenes that actually worked on it were happy with it and said that it was successful financially. They've said that. So it's not just us having some number that's been posted on Deadline or Hollywood Reporter. You are literally calling everyone behind the production of that film a liar based on nothing. You don't know the finances better than they do. I don't know the finances better than they do, but they said they were happy with it. They said it was successful in the box office. That metric alone, they have said that. So unless you have some proof that those guys have lied about it, then what you're saying is, I believe Nerdrotic over literally a dozen people connected to the studio from different departments who have said that it was successful. I'm trying to bite my tongue here. I don't want to be super mean, Steve, but you have to understand how batshit crazy that is. To believe a random YouTuber with no ties to any of this stuff, with no background in finance, listening to them tell you this and say that I'm just going to believe them over these creative people, over these movies and TV shows that I love. You say you love these things. You're going to listen to these guys over those. I don't know how to unpack that, man. I don't know how to unpack that.
Through other things. So I was a hit. Now, maybe the franchise as a whole is doing well, and making the film is part of that whole package where maybe you don't actually make any money off the actual film, but the money you make from the endorsements and the products that the film sort of, promotes, it all sort of works together. It's all a little ecosystem now. It's not as simple as just the box office.
So you do understand why it's problematic for those guys to go around and just talk about the box office and say that movie sucks and that it was a flop because of the box office and not look at any of the other numbers. You do understand why that's a problem. So I'm not sure why you're defending them here, and you're saying that there's an issue with me pointing out that they're wrong about something when you just agreed that that is the truth. That these movies make money off of other things outside of the box office. Like, you understand this. All right.
Some films it is, they don't have a merchandising, a campaign, a franchise, but other films they do, and that's just part of it. But you still can't separate them and act like that's its own thing. So that's one thing he continually does that drives me nuts.
So you understand that I'm right, but it bothers you that I call them out for doing something that is dishonest, and it's a bad framing of something. I don't even... What am I supposed to do with that, Steve? I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with that. Like, I'm supposed to just ignore that these guys are shit-talking movies and making the fandom worse because the box office numbers, the arbitrary estimated box office numbers are being debated as the sole success of these movies, and you know that it's not, but me calling it out and hopefully bringing to attention how these guys are misleading, that bothers you? Okay.
I wrote down a bunch of things. I'm like, yep. Like, for example, in the new Predator film, the judge is saying, they feminized the film, there's a woman in it, and she's sort of the girl boss, and the Predator's just taking orders from her, and none of that's true. But he keeps saying, but she's not a girl because she's a synth.
So none of that is true, but you're going to go on to have an issue with something that I said, even though the main point that I make is right. And you're not disagreeing with me. All right, so let's run this back because I want to hear the whole thing. I want to hear the whole statement. Let's run it back. I feel like it's going to devolve into like a misunderstanding of gender and sex. It's always... One of the things I've noticed a lot, even I was talking on the showcast with the other guys, is that even people within our community don't understand the way gender and sex functions in a social way. But let's see. I don't want to get too far ahead of this because I want to give him a chance to say what he has to say. But let's see where he goes with this.
She's sort of the girl boss, and the Predator's just taking orders from her, and none of that's true. But he keeps saying, but she's not a girl because she's a synth. And I'm like, she's a female synth. And
I never said she wasn't a girl because she's a synth. I said she's not a biological human female. That's what I said. If you're going to quote my comment, at least get it right. It's very important when we're talking about these types of topics, when it comes to gender and sex and all of this, that we are very specific about the words we use. because that is what makes the difference. That's what everybody's arguing about, right? That is the discrepancy, is how we're looking at this from the standpoint of sex and gender. So you have to be very clear here. I never said that she wasn't a girl or a woman. I said that she was not a biological female because she's not a human being. That is what I said. Feminization from the aspect of those guys requires a biological component because they see sex and gender as the same thing. I really need you guys to understand this. I really need you to understand this, but let's let him finish.
Orders from her, and none of that's true. But he keeps saying, but she's not a girl because she's a synth. And I'm like, she's a female synth, and the actress is a synth. The actress is a woman, I mean. So obviously there is a woman in the film, there is a female element. And if these guys view this film as a male only, even though there was a woman in the original Predator, if you
which means it's not a male only franchise, but let's continue.
Recall, then they're kind of right that there is a female in there, and
but that's not the argument. Wasn't okay. Let's run this all back quickly. The argument wasn't that there was a female in the movie. You have to listen to everything I said as a whole statement, okay? My point was that we have a woman in that movie who is a synthetic woman where the gender does not matter in the film. Since she is not biologically a female, clearly that's not going to matter. So we've already jumped over that. Already established. It's not like she's going to procreate and have babies and all that stuff. Like, that's not going to happen. As a woman, that doesn't even matter in the movie because there's no discussion about how her gender affects anything that happens in the film. Matter of fact, the whole sister conversation doesn't even require a biological component. It doesn't even require the gender to be woman, technically, because sister is a term that can be used between people that aren't even related. There's nothing in that movie that you can point to and say, this makes the movie a girl movie, other than the fact that they see a woman present in the film. That's it. That is it. That was the point I was making, is that all of the confusion about female and woman and how that works together, I explained that, and then I also explained that even if you go a step further into gender and you're just looking at it from a gender standpoint, and that's the only way you're looking at it, even that has no effect on the movie. If you changed the synthetics to men, the story would be exactly the same. It would be exactly the same. So they're not right. They're not right. There's no female present as a co-lead because female is a biological term. And they're also wrong that they turned the movie into a girl brand because the fact that their gender of being a girl or a woman in the movie, it has no effect on the film. So neither one of those things are right. They're just not right. I don't know why people, and I'm not saying just Steve here, but why people, including like EFAP and all these other groups, want to argue about something that you're just completely wrong about. You've already agreed that they lied about the fact that the synth bossed him around and everything and all those. You said that was true. So now you're saying they're correct about the synth being a female when the synth is not. Female is a biological classification, Steve. All right, let's continue.
And if they are focusing more on, the relationship between the two characters, not just the Predator as on his own sort of male sort of journey.
What was male about the journey? Explain to me how the gender of the Predator came into play on the journey that he was on. Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't come into play at all. Like it has if Deck would have been a woman Predator, the story would have been exactly the same because again, brothers, just like sisters, don't require a biological component. You can refer to someone as a brother when you're not even related to them. So anyway.
There's an element of that. You can't say, because she's a synthetic and not an actual female, that there's no female in the film, that there's no female element. And I'm like, the actress is a woman. The character.
But how does that affect Steve? We're not going to get back into this. The fact that the actress is a human female has nothing to do with the character they're portraying on the screen. The actor playing Deck is a human male, but that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he's playing an alien. So why is it that you have to... Anyway, let's just continue.
Character is a female. The Sith is, designed to be a woman. So that's just stupid. And maybe they're all idiots for being threatened by that female presence. But you can't say it's not there because the character technically isn't human. That's just the stupidest thing ever. And he keeps...
Female is a biological classification. So it's not stupid. It's just... Let's continue.
Coming up with these really stupid things. I'm like, you must think your audience is as stupid as the chuds do. Just on the other side of the street, working the other side of the street.
I mean, the fact that you don't understand the difference between female and woman in language is a problem, Steve. It's a problem. So you are the one, like you and anybody else who just doesn't want to tackle this, you are the ones being stupid. I'm sorry, you just are. It's like you so badly want to just conflate gender and sex that you're not even paying attention to the fact that they mean different things.
What were the other things he said? It was like really... another one. I'm going to keep it. I'm already up to 5 minutes. The last one, because there's a whole bunch of them. I wrote a bunch down. I was just going, that's just wrong. No, that's wrong. That's wrong.
I will say I appreciate that he has some examples here. I do like that because it gives me a chance to like rebut them. But these aren't good examples because I've already tackled a lot of this before. And the fact that I'm having to repeat it means that it isn't a messaging issue. It's a literacy issue, right? It's the fact that I'm explaining it to you and you're still not understanding it. Maybe you'll get it this time. Maybe you will. But the fact that you already have an issue with me even explaining things in this way tells me that you're probably going to see this as like, how dare he correct me? I do feel like that's the way you're going to take this, even though it's not the intention that I have. I really, truly want to educate people on things like sex and gender because I think it really is important for us as a community to understand the nuances between those things. But when people are being so bullheaded about it and being so wrong about it, it makes it really hard to explain it because even after you watch this video, if you watch it, you're going to walk away and still think that I'm wrong because you so badly want to be right. I hope that that's not the case. I hope I'm wrong about that.
Studios, he's saying, studios would never lie about how much money they make. They can't because they'll be sued because they've got investors. I'm like, they can lie as much as they want in the publicity of the media so long as they are telling the investors the accurate numbers behind closed doors. They can say whatever they want in the media, lie as much as they want. And he's saying, they can't lie. They'd never lie. The studios would never lie. The studios lie all the time.
Okay, so I'm pausing you here because I think you made a full statement. That is literally fraud. I don't know why this is so difficult to understand. If I am telling someone behind closed doors that I need $100 investment and that they will make $300 in return, and then I go out to the newspapers and I'm like, oh no, we made $1,000. We made $1,000. And then I go back behind closed doors and I'm like, here's your couple $100. They're going to be like, wait, no. You told the news outlets that you made $1,000. Where's the rest of our money? Oh, that was just a lie. Oh, it's a lie. So you didn't make that money? No. Okay. So let's check your finances and see if you made that money. And then they're going to go check their finances. And if they see that there's like $500 sitting around that they were not honest about, they're going to be like, you lied to us. This is fraudulent. We're going to take you to court. The point I'm trying to make here is that you cannot, it is absolutely illegal. It is fraud. There's multiple things illegal about doing that, about going out and giving out false numbers that are not estimates, which is why we might get an estimate on production budget, but very rarely do studios, I would love for you to find a quote directly from the studio giving us exactly down to the dollar how much a movie cost to make, how much the advertising was, and how much the movie actually made in theaters. That isn't something like Box Office Pro, Box Office Mojo, some other website that just aggregates the sales based on ticket prices. I would love for you to find that. It doesn't exist. And the reason why is because these numbers, all of the stuff that happens behind closed doors, these things have to be above board. This is why studios don't go out and say it. The numbers that you get, the numbers that we get, that come out from like the websites, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, Screen Rant, whatever, these are all estimated numbers from box office analysts. This isn't the studio releasing the sales of these things. They don't do that. And if you look at the quarterly statements, they don't break down like marketing cost or anything like that. You won't see those numbers in quarterly statements either. There's tons of articles about this on how studios do not like to give out exact sales numbers. So even if you were to argue that the sales numbers that are put in the articles and magazines or whatever, even if you want to argue that sometimes they're inflated, it's not the studio inflating them. They're not the ones doing that. It would be analysts that are doing that. It would be insiders that are doing that. So it's not even the studios doing it. Just think about it for a second, Steve. Just think about it for a second.
They lie to stop, having to pay out, commissions and shares and all that to actors who, took, a part of the box office and never got paid. They lie all the time.
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. That's a separate thing altogether. That's contract shit. Like if they're not paying an actor something because of one reason or another, that's a breach of contract. That's a different situation than a studio going to like a news outlet and saying how much they made and that number being different than what they filed on their taxes, different than what they did with the board of directors, investors, things like that. It's different. It's a completely different situation. It is literally illegal. Again, this is a product of the Chud guys. When they tell you that they can do this and they say they can lie, give me an example, show me an example of the studio coming out and giving out a higher number to a news outlet and then filing a lower number on their taxes in their quarterly statements. Give me an example of that. Because if you can't give me an example of that, then you have no proof that they lied about something. You have no proof. This is just, you're saying this because the Chud channels have said it. Like, talking about somebody's contract getting breached is not the same thing.
And he's saying, they would never do that. They can't do that. They can, they do. What?
They can't.
Who are you trying to fool? So there are things like that.
Like, I'm not trying to fool anybody. Matter of fact, I've done videos where I've shown examples of studios getting in trouble for lying. Studios that have gotten in trouble and they've been fined for it and they've had an oversight committee on their asses because of it. All right, so very quickly before we wrap up this video, I want to show an example of one of the most recent cases that people might remember where a studio did something illegal, like what we were just talking about with Steve, and they actually got in trouble for it and it went to court. So here we have TSG Entertainment versus 20th Century Studios Walt Disney Company. This is from 2023-2024. In August 2023, TSG, a longtime financing partner that co-funded over 100 films, sued 20th Century Studios and Disney. TSG claimed the studio used nearly every trick in Hollywood in the accounting book to withhold profits owed under their financing agreement. According to the complaint, an independent audit of just 3 films showed TSG had been underpaid by at least $40 million due to uncredited revenue, unauthorized distribution fee charges, and self-dealing. It was settled outside of court in January 2024, but the settlement claims and terms remain undisclosed. It is illegal. And if it happens, they get taken to court over this. They get sued over this because it comes out in financial audits. Their quarterly statements can be looked at. All of this stuff can be figured out. This is what a lot of people do in Hollywood. There's people that are paid big money to go through and audit these things. They happen because it is illegal. Stop saying that it's not. Stop being like, well, they lie all the time and so you're wrong. I'm not wrong. It is illegal, which is what I've said. So if they lie, they will get in trouble for it. And they have. Disney, this is recent. This is 2023, 2024. And it's happened before. There's several other cases like this over the years where this has happened. These studios don't get away with this stuff. It gets found out and they get in trouble. Why would they risk that over random movies because Nerdrotic said so? Steve, that doesn't make any sense, man. Come on. Think about this.
and just lie just to be contrarian or to, work the other side of that street. And it just undermines everything he does that is right. And I was just going to do a video just going down.
I have receipts for everything that I do, Steve. Like I could have pulled receipts for everything you've criticized before, all of it. But this video is already running long. It's already going to be over an hour probably. So I could have pulled receipts for all of that. I hate to tell you, Steve, because I don't want you to feel like, I'm trying to be disrespectful or whatever. I have proof of everything that I say. If I say something is illegal, I have proof. I have examples. If I say a movie did well at the box office based on the numbers that we are provided, I always have examples of this. I always have proof of this. If I say the marketing, they save money on marketing because of XYZ, I always have proof of it. I always have examples of it. Everything that I say, even when it comes to gender and sex, I will have proof of it. I will have examples of it. I always have these things. I always cover my ass. You don't hold that same standard to the Chud channels. You're saying, oh, they're being factual, they're being true, but they don't provide any proof whatsoever. And the standard for me is so much higher. It's like, here's this guy, I guess, because you don't like me for whatever reason, right? You have a love-hate relationship, I suppose, with my content. You don't like me. So because you don't like that I'm saying things about people that I guess you find attractive or whatever the fucking reason is, that the bar is so high for me that even when I provide actual proof of these things, you still have an issue with me doing it. Steve, I don't even know how to fucking unpack that. I don't know.
Down through all the examples for one video of the things he got wrong and lied about, and it's like, I'm already at 6 minutes. I've only gone through 3. I'm going to stop.
I didn't lie about. So you already agreed. You already agreed with me on the Predator thing. Let's go to that for a second. You agreed on the Predator thing that all the stuff they were saying about the movie was wrong, but your issue was that I was separating sex and gender of a synthetic being. The Superman thing, you said the box office isn't the only metric to judge whether or not something is a financial success. You said that yourself. That's what I've said. I've been consistent on it. And the studio has come out and said that they did well at the box office and that they're happy with it. So I'm not the one lying. I'm going with the information that's provided in front of me. If the studio said they're happy with it, James Gunn said they're happy with it, they greenlit a bunch of projects because of that, I'm going to go with them. I'm not going to listen to Nerdrotic. So where is Nerdrotic's information? Like, where is his? Where's Critical Drinker's information? Where are they getting it from? Where's that coming from? And then the thing you just said about them, like it's not illegal because they can just lie about it. It absolutely is illegal. They have lied about it and they got caught for it. Again, receipts. I'm not wrong. I'm not a liar. None of those examples prove that I lie or that I'm wrong about something. Those are 3 things that I'm very confident about. Let's continue.
I think I made my point. I'm going to go for free, share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Eric Debunks and the small number of like anti-chud sort of channels out there who seem to just exist to trash, the chuds because they think there's an audience for that. Even if some of the times they're right, sometimes they're right about things, they just misrepresentate them, or they sort of put their agenda on top of it. Like, but some of the
So what agenda? What's my agenda? I'm curious what my agenda is. Let me make it very clear. This channel is created to educate people on the media grifting that's going on social media and YouTube with a bunch of channels that sell outrage and misrepresent, deceptively review media, make a living off pissing people off, keeping people angry and mad. That is what my agenda is. That's it. That's the whole thing. Unless you think that I'm doing something else for some other reason, considering my channel isn't that big, I don't know what the other accusation would be. I would love to know what my agenda is.
things they say are just factually correct, but he'll even like contradict the facts just because they quoted them, they stated them. There's a whole video they were going through one.
So again, the 3 examples you gave, I completely dismantled them. I wasn't lying about any of them. I'm right about every single one of them. But go off, I guess.
Guy, I forgot his name. He's annoying. I've seen a few of his videos. I don't like him because he is very chatty. But some of the things he said was right, and they were just picking faults. And they even tried to.
So if someone is a thief 9 out of 10 times, does that mean the one time they don't steal, they're no longer a thief? Is that what that means? Like, somebody can steal from a store 9 times, but one day they go in and they pay for something, and so they're no longer a thief anymore. No, they're still a thief. People that lie about stuff that sometimes tell the truth, they're still liars, right? Isn't that the way that works? If I'm on video and I say 6 things and 5 of them you would agree are lies, but one of them is factual, does that make me any less of a liar in your eyes? Would that make a difference? No, because you'd be like, he still lied about a bunch of stuff. So why is it that the standard is I'm supposed to praise them and give them credit for not lying when they lie a lot? Oh, yay, congratulations, you didn't lie, man. Okay, let's end the video here. You told the truth one time, so let's end the video. What a dumb standard, Steve. I'm sorry, what a dumb standard.
Go, because he said, I think Texas was like the 5th biggest like city or something in the country, and they're like, I bet he got that wrong too. And like, oh damn, he was right about that one. And then turn around and say, but it's not the biggest commercially, it's not the biggest state, so that doesn't count.
So you have an issue that we researched what we said, we admitted that we were wrong, and then we clarified what it was we were talking about. So we actually fact-checked ourselves in real time to make sure that what we were saying was accurate. And your issue is that we did that, and then we clarified what it was we were looking for when we fact-checked ourselves. Is that the same standard you hold with those guys when they lie? Or is it just us? Is it just us? Is it just the people that actually fact-check ourselves in real time? I'm really curious about that.
Oh my God, that's trying just so hard. I mean, just...
Right, because these guys lie so much that we assume they're lying and have to double check to make sure they're not. Do you not see why that's a problem? Do you not understand why that's the issue? That's part of the reason why we're doing what we're doing, Steve, is to fact check them. So yeah, someone that lies 9 out of 10 times, when they say something and we're like, that doesn't sound right, we're going to check it out, and then we find out it's true, we'll admit that we were wrong about it, which is what we did. I remember exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about Aaron, the Aaron guy. Wow, we fact check ourselves and we were wrong, and we admitted that we were wrong, and then we clarify what it is that we were looking for. Holy shit. Holy shit. It proves that we're bad people, I guess. That we fact check the liars to make sure they're telling the truth. All right.
Stick to the truth of the argument and the issue, and you won't need to lie and exaggerate and highlight things like just it just undermines what you're doing.
How does fact checking someone in real time and admitting that the assumption we made was wrong in real time and then correcting it in real time, how is that wrong? That's called accountability. That should be just the general standard for people on YouTube. When I was watching EFAP, they made all kinds of comments about me that were absolutely wrong. They didn't bother to check any of it. And I guess that's okay. That's all right, I guess. I don't understand, Steve.
It's really frustrating because every time I watch a video, he'll do something like that. And if he wasn't doing that, I can really be behind the fact that he's, attacking these people for all their ugly agendas and that. But he just goes too far and undermines himself by contradicting the few things they say that are actually right, or factually correct, even if they're twisting all around it. In order to discredit the whole thing, he'll misrepresent or lie or discredit an element, a factual thing. And it's just like, it just shows a lack of integrity and just...
Here we go with integrity.
It just bugs me. I just want one channel that is like anti-Chud, but isn't as bad as them and just going down to their level and just doing the opposite of what they're doing because they think that's what we want.
How would that look, Steve? Explain to me how an anti-Chud channel would exist without addressing all the stuff they're doing at their level. How would that exist? So you're supposed to be an anti-Chud channel, but you don't react to their content. You don't call them out on their lies unless you're also going to celebrate them when the 1 out of 10 times they tell the truth. You have to celebrate that. You can't center your channel around them, but you're supposed to be an anti-chud channel. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, Steve. It sounds to me like what you're looking for, based on what you've complained about, is someone who just does what you want them to do. That's what this boils down to. You just want someone who's going to do what you want them to do. That's not going to be me. And I don't think it's going to be many channels, to be honest.
I mean, why are there no channels that just enjoy films and TV and just love them and talk about them?
I mean, you watch the Chud channels. You're contributing to the problem. You're defending the liars because once in a while they tell the truth. The vast majority of the time, they're bigots. The vast majority of the time, they're liars. But once in a while, they tell the truth. So you're engaging in their content because of that and because you find them hot. Your words, not mine. So that's why you're doing that. But you're over here nitpicking people like myself who are literally fighting back against this kind of content because you want to tone police how we do it. And then you want to discredit us when we're actually providing factual, receivable information about these things. Steve, I hate to tell you this, but you need to break out of this. You need to break out of it. I really believe cold turkey on the Chud content, and don't even watch the anti-Chud content. Just break out of it altogether. I honestly believe that's what's best for you, based on what I'm hearing.
There are toy channels like that. There are toy channels you can tune into, and they're just going on and on about how much they love this toy or that toy, and they're just fabulous. Just like there are other toy channels that do nothing like but trash stuff. But most of them, a lot of them, they're just there. They just love stuff, and they just talk about it, and they're really awesome little groups. I'd love to be a part of them.
Well, then avoid channels that talk about stuff negatively, Steve. If your whole thing is that I don't like these kinds of content creators, then why are you watching Nerdrotic and shit? I'm so confused.
But then you get the film TV people, and they just hate everything. They criticize everything.
Is there some sort of cognitive dissonance happening? I don't understand.
And there's so many levels to that. It's like, well, clearly you wanted to work in film, you couldn't make it, so now you just tear other people's film apart. Or you that attacking something and being smart and sarcastic makes you creative. So this is your creative output, trashing other people's work. And it's so much easier to trash people and tear people down than it is to build people up.
I mean, you've made 2 videos about me where you've trashed me. I mean, that's what you just did in these videos, Steve. I don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Like, you're totally entitled to do that. I wouldn't judge you for that. But you are being judgmental about it, right? You're being judgmental about it. You're calling me a hypocrite, saying I have a lack of integrity, but then you're engaging in it yourself. So you do see there is some benefit in your mind in meeting people where they are, because that's what you're doing in this video. You're meeting me where I am in this. So you do understand there's a benefit to that.
Or support people, or be an artist and actually go out and create something. So much easier to just destroy and criticize, and you find people who do that. And I just would like just one channel that just is like a film and TV channel, genre, like nerd sort of.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of great channels out there that do that. You can click the link in any of our showcasts, and there's a bunch of channels that do that kind of stuff. My Reloaded channel doesn't really focus on Chud content at all, and it's primarily talking about things that I love. It's a completely separate channel from my Debunks channel, where the focus is primarily on stuff that I enjoy. So this whole video complaining about like not being able to find that kind of content, you're not looking very hard, because it's literally these 2 channels I advertise both equally. So you have to know it exists. You would have to know it exists. So you're being very dishonest here, Steve. You're being very dishonest about my content.
Realm that is just positive but honest. And if something doesn't work or is wrong or woke or whatever, just say it. You know.
You're not going to find an honest channel that's going to use woke as a criticism, Steve, because woke is not a fair criticism. It's not a valid criticism of a movie or a TV show. So you're asking for channels that are not connected to Chud content to call out wokeness on a positive channel. Okay.
It doesn't mean you're a chud if you're acknowledging, you know, actual things that actually exist and you're not putting a spin on it or an agenda on it. But then they go in the opposite direction, and it's like, where's reality? Where's the actual real world in between? We just got.
Okay, we're going to stop here. I don't think we're going to get much else out of him. Steve, I'm going to speak very clearly to you here, and this is very genuinely, you know, if you've watched this whole thing or anybody else that's watching this. You have been affected by these channels. You've been affected by them. And I think you need to recognize that. Now, I want to preface this by saying you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to any of the other like anti-grift channels. I actually don't think it's healthy for you to watch this kind of content or that kind of content. But the fact that you think woke is a valid criticism means that you have been compromised. The idea of woke and diversity and women and marginalized groups and, you know, black people, brown people, Asian people, gay people, trans people, the idea that that automatically discredits and ruins media, which is what woke means when they say that. The fact that you think that's a valid criticism and that someone that is making a somewhat positive channel would include that in a valid criticism means that you have been compromised, Steve. It's tough for you to understand this. I know you're probably going to be mad and you're going to reject it, but I'm telling you, you have. And anybody that has broken away from that content will tell you the same thing. I'm not even going to trash you, Steve. I don't agree with you. I think that you misrepresented me quite a lot in both of these videos. I think you said a lot of things that didn't make a lot of sense to me. I think you made a lot of accusations about me that aren't true based on no evidence whatsoever. But I'm not going to insult you, not going to trash you, and I don't want anybody else to do that either. I truly think that you would benefit greatly from disconnecting from all of this.